Good morning. I'm Matt McAreavey, Fire Chief for Sioux Falls Fire Rescue. Sioux Falls Fire Rescue is proud to be a part of your neighborhood. We strive to be good neighbors through our education, risk reduction, and emergency response. Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, the residents should never doubt that they're in good hands and that the service that they're going to receive from their community and from their local fire station is top-notch. Sioux Falls Fire Rescue recently received a national classification reassuring that the residents that they are in good hands. Sioux Falls Fire Rescue is proud to announce that we received an ISO 1 classification through the Insurance Services Office. Our community first received this classification back in 2015, and the Insurance Services Office reclassifies communities on a 3 to 5 year basis. Fire departments across the community strive for this high rating as a justification for what they're doing for their community. Sioux Falls Fire Rescue is one of 39,000 departments that are surveyed annually, and we are one of only 388 that have received this highest level of classification. Other Midwest communities that enjoy this high classification as well would be Fargo and Sioux City, and then there's our other larger communities such as Houston, San Antonio, and Charlotte, just to name a few. So what does this mean for our community? ISO, is an independent, privately held organization that rates communities based on risk. And when they evaluate a community based on risk for fire, there's a 100-point scale there that incorporates the water department, emergency communication center, and then of course the fire department. We're very proud at Sioux Falls Fire Rescue to have strong relationship and partnership with those departments, with Public Works and their water maintenance division, and then as well as Metro 911, our local PSAP agency. Without these strong relationships and their resources, our community would not be able to attain this high level of classification. We at Sioux Falls Fire Rescue enjoy those partnerships. Like I stated, the relationship with Metro 911 and the Communications Center rated almost perfect on their score. Likewise did our partners in the Public Works Division. Additionally, on this 100-point scale, we're awarded points for our work in risk reduction through our Fire Prevention Division, and those efforts are manifested in community education, code enforcement, as well as fire investigation. For us as a department, this classification holds us accountable to make sure that we're providing the ultimate in customer service and fire protection to our community. For property owners, this means that they should be able to anticipate a reduction in fire loss across our community as compared to the national standard. And then this high rating also has the potential for reducing insurance premiums related to fire danger within our community. Sioux Falls Fire Rescue is proud to work with many communities in our metro area through mutual aid agreements. We respond out in the county to provide assistance. This ISO classification does stay with the primary jurisdiction with the community that is housed. So with Sioux Falls Fire Rescue being a municipal fire department, our jurisdiction is the city limit proper of City of Sioux Falls, so that insurance impact would be recognized or has the potential to be recognized throughout our community within the city limits. This classification is something that is attractive to businesses as they look to build and grow within our community. An ISO 1 classification is a standard that we strive to maintain as a department and as a community. With that, I thank you for your time this morning. If you have more questions on this rating or Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, I encourage you to go to siouxfalls.org/fire. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. It has the potential to. So ISO, like I said, is a privately held company. Other insurance underwriters are able to subscribe to that data and utilize it to evaluate the fire risk within a community. There's a number of different risk categories that come into an insurance premium. Crime, weather, hail, flood, all of those. Fire is one component. I think the last one I saw, fire and lightning account for about 24% of property damage over a surveyed year. So 24% roughly is what you would expect is impacted by this assessment. But then, like I say, like each insurance company will attribute this individually. So it's really hard to put a peg on exactly what that is. So the lowest rating, it's on a scale from 1 to 10. 10 is essentially a rating that you don't have fire protection service, and I wouldn't be able to speak to what that would do for your premiums. I do know that we receive calls throughout the community as we obviously grow. There are people that are just outside of the city limits, and when they call, they'll be evaluating because they have noticed that their premiums are rising, and that's because of their local fire protection is based off of the district that is responsible for their response, instead of Sioux Falls Fire that has this rating.
All right, good morning. I'm Monique Christensen. I am the Assistant Director for Siouxland Libraries. And this is a busy time of year for us. We're wrapping up Everybody Reads. And if you haven't logged your reading this month, please go out to our website and log your reading and help us reach our goal. We're also launching One Book Siouxland, which starts in April. So be watching for that. But today I'm here to talk to you about how the library embraces technology to help us free up our staff to have more direct contact with customers and to make sure that our community has access to great quality library services. So we began using self-check kiosks in the 1990s. This was back when we were doing barcode technology, scanning one item at a time. In 2012 and 2013, we went to RFID, so radio frequency identification. And at that time, we purchased 17 self-check kiosks that are distributed over 8 of our locations and 5 automated materials handling sorters. So these sorters are your mechanical system that's going to sort materials into various locations, whether it be a different branch or a sorting location, or where or holds that need to go on the shelf for customers. So it's taking all of that sorting away from the staff needing to do it, putting it in the hands of a machine and our customers. In 2023, now we are replacing that aging equipment. It's 10 years old, and we're starting to see mechanical failures and a lot of downtime, and so we made the decision to replace that equipment. And we're replacing, for the most part, like for like. So 17 self-checks at those same 8 locations, and replacing those 5 sorters, although we're adding some bins to those. So I want to talk a little bit about the self-check kiosks, the new ones. They're very attractive. They have lights on them. People notice them. They know, okay, that's where I go to check out. It's very apparent for our customers. Kids and adults like the graphics. There's a fun little spaceship and aliens, so they're attracted to those. And these new self-checks have some accessibility options. So one would be the ability to lower all of the buttons that you need to touch to a range that someone in a wheelchair would be able to use. You can also change the language. So if you need your directions in a different language, you have the option to change that. So far, since they were installed, which is late January, we have had, and I lost my number, 27,350 customers use those. That's not items checked out, it's just individual customers using those self-checks. The new AMHs, as well as kind of being that like for like, they have new options. And we made some strategic decisions to add a few extra bins as the population grows and we're processing more items. We need to have some extra bins to provide more sorting by the machine instead of by staff. So right now we have an 11 bin sorter at our downtown location. That's our hub. A lot of things come from other locations and come back there to be resorted by the machine. Our Oakview and Prairie West branches each have a 5-bin sorter, and that's what they had before. Our Cayley branch, which is one of those locations that gets a lot of returns, went from a 5-bin sorter to a 6-bin, so adding an additional one for them. And our Ronning branch, which is our busiest branch in the system, went from a 5-bin sorter to a 7-bin. So some of the advantages of the new AMH is, first of all, a smaller footprint. We have, by switching to this new one, we've saved a lot of space in our staff area. There were times where staff were kind of inching by the machine because it was so big, and so now we have a decent amount of space in our staff area. The new sorter has electronic bins, so it has a deck that's going to lower and raise depending on how much material is in the bin. This allows our staff to empty that bin while standing and not having to reach down into the bottom of the bin, and so bending for each of those loads. For me, the exciting piece is tote management. So within Siouxland Libraries, we have a courier system, and our courier is going to all of our large locations every day, 7 days a week. And so staff previously would have to empty those bins into totes for the courier, and then those items move on. In the new system, the items are going to go right into the courier tote. So we've eliminated one step for our staff in moving materials. But the more exciting thing is when that bin gets to another location, they can take one item out of that bin, place it on an RFID reader, and everything in that bin is checked in. So that's saving us running all of those things through a sorter again at another location.